That embarrassing thing you said 5 years ago just popped into your head again, didn't it? Your brain is literally torturing you on purpose, and I'm about to show you exactly why. Right now, while you're watching this, your mind is probably already wandering back to some cringe moment from your past. Maybe it's that job interview you bombed, or the text message you sent to the wrong person, or that relationship where you said all the wrong things. Here's what's actually happening inside your skull that nobody talks about. Your amygdala, which is this almond-shaped cluster of neurons deep in your brain, cannot tell the difference between a real threat standing in front of you and a memory of something embarrassing that happened 3 years ago. Every single time you replay that awful moment, your body dumps the exact same stress hormones into your bloodstream as if you're living through it again, right now, in real time. You're not just remembering the pain, you're literally re-experiencing it, and your body is paying the price. Scientists have a fancy word for this mental torture chamber, and they call it rumination. Imagine a record player, but the needle is stuck on the most scratched and damaged part of the record. That's your brain overthinking. Now here's where things get really interesting. You have this beautiful prefrontal cortex at the front of your brain that's supposed to be your rational decision-making center. It's like the wise adult in the room. But when you start overthinking about the past, your emotional brain, which scientists call the limbic system, completely hijacks the whole operation. It's like having a screaming toddler take over the controls of an airplane. Researchers at Yale University discovered that chronic overthinkers show massively increased activity in something called the default mode network. This is the part of your brain that lights up when you're supposedly doing nothing. But here's the twisted irony. Your brain literally cannot rest because it's constantly scanning for threats even when you're trying to relax. So why does your brain obsess over the past specifically? Why not the present or some random future scenario? Evolution completely screwed us over on this one. Think about your ancestors 10,000 years ago, living in small tribes and surrounded by predators. If you made a social mistake and got kicked out of your tribe, you died. If you failed to remember which berry was poisonous, you died. If you didn't learn from that time you almost got eaten by a tiger, you definitely died. So the humans who survived and passed on their genes to you were the ones who obsessively reviewed every single mistake they ever made. You inherited an anxiety machine that was designed to keep cave people alive, but now it's completely useless in modern life. That's exactly why you can vividly remember every stupid thing you said at that party in high school, but you can't remember what you had for breakfast yesterday. Your brain is hardwired to prioritize emotionally charged memories, especially the negative ones, because it genuinely believes they're keeping you alive. Section 4. Now let me blow your mind with something even more disturbing. Every single time you remember something from your past, you're not actually accessing the original memory, like pulling a file from a cabinet. You're remembering the last time you remembered it. Think of it like making a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. Each time it gets a little more distorted and a little less accurate. Neuroscientists call this process memory reconsolidation, and it's absolutely wild. Every time you replay that breakup conversation, or that work failure, or that fight with your parents, you're not just passively reviewing what happened, you're actively rewriting the memory. You're adding today's emotions and today's interpretations and today's biases into a memory of something that happened months or years ago. So that painful memory you keep obsessing over, it's probably not even close to what actually happened anymore. You've been making it worse with every replay and creating a version of the past that's more painful and more distorted than reality ever was. Section 5. The chemical warfare happening in your brain during overthinking is absolutely brutal. When you ruminate, your body floods itself with cortisol, which is your primary stress hormone. A little bit of cortisol is fine, but chronic exposure literally shrinks your hippocampus. That's the seahorse-shaped part of your brain responsible for learning new things and forming new memories.
Read that again. Overthinking about your past mistakes actually damages the part of your brain that's supposed to help you create a better future. You're trapped in a neurological prison where the more time you spend thinking about what went wrong, the less capable you become of doing things right going forward. It's a feedback loop from hell, and your brain has no idea it's destroying itself because it thinks it's protecting you. Here's the part that makes this even more insidious. Your brain actually becomes addicted to overthinking. When you ruminate and analyze and replay scenarios, you're activating your reward system. Your brain releases tiny hits of dopamine because it thinks you're problem solving. And in evolutionary terms, problem solving equals survival. So you get this little neurochemical reward every time you think about that past situation because your primitive brain believes you're getting closer to preventing it from happening again. Except there's one massive problem. There is no solution because it already happened. The past is done. You're chasing a reward that can never actually arrive. You've turned your own thought patterns into a rigged casino slot machine that never pays out, but keeps you desperately pulling the lever, convinced that the next spin will finally give you peace. So, how do you actually break free from this mental prison? First, you need to understand something fundamental. Your thoughts are not facts. That voice inside your head that keeps replaying embarrassing moments and failures is not a reliable narrator. It's a glitchy survival program running on 10,000-year-old software that hasn't been updated. Neuroscientists recommend what they call the 5-second reality check. The moment you catch yourself spiraling into the past, you pause and ask yourself 3 questions. Is this thought actually helping me right now in this present moment? Am I solving anything real, or am I just making myself suffer? Is this memory even accurate anymore, or have I twisted it through countless replays? These simple questions interrupt the neural pathway and force your prefrontal cortex back online. You're essentially hitting the reset button on your rational brain. The second technique that's backed by serious brain science is called cognitive diffusion. Instead of thinking, "I'm such an idiot for what I did," you think, "I'm having the thought that I'm an idiot for what I did." It sounds like a tiny word change, but it creates massive psychological distance. You're observing the thought instead of being consumed by it. You're watching it float by like a cloud instead of becoming the cloud. Brain imaging studies show that this simple reframing reduces activity in your amygdala by enormous amounts. You're literally teaching your brain the thoughts are just electrical signals passing through your neurons, not absolute truths that define who you are. The thought only has power over you if you grab onto it and believe it. Here's the truth that nobody wants to tell you, but you need to hear. You cannot stop your brain from generating overthinking thoughts about the past. Evolution built that machine, and it's hardwired into your neurology. It's not going away. But here's what you can change. You can transform your relationship with those thoughts. You can learn to notice them without believing them. You can watch them appear without letting them control your emotional state. The goal isn't to achieve some mythical, quiet mind where you never think about the past. That's impossible, and anyone selling you that fantasy is lying. The real goal is to build a mind that thinks whatever it wants, but doesn't control you anymore. Every single time you catch yourself replaying some painful memory and you consciously choose to redirect your attention, you're doing something incredible. You're literally rewiring your neural pathways. You're building new connections in your brain that lead toward freedom instead of toward that same old prison cell. The past is completely over, and nothing you think about it can change a single second of what happened. But your future is still unwritten, and it starts right now with the next thought you choose not to believe.